IGN on Twitch, right? I think. Here.
And instead of just 1 week, we're bringing you multiple weeks of completely ballooned out, overstacked
just
gaming
use your
coverage,
water
which is
to make a
good for
waterfall
you,
to
and
get
I don't
down
know if
5
that's great
hit.
for our mental health,
Doesn't
but
work.
we'll make do.
We'll make it work. We'll be carrying all the big video game announcement streams being dropped by all your favorite publishers and studios, so you can get all your info, IGN and otherwise, in one place, which is right here. And we're doing it for a good cause, too. Throughout our summer of gaming, we're hosting a slew of gaming events for charity. You might have caught the Titanfall 2 speedrun before we started. We're doing one of those each day before our coverage kicks off to raise money for the World Health Organization and the Bail Project. Later on today, we'll have special Summer of Gaming episodes of our regular series, and potentially, even more important, Sony's State of Play showcase, which was wildly expected to be the first reveal of the actual PlayStation 5, potentially even the box itself, which we haven't seen, despite talking about it for years now.
You know, I think if they hype that up and show PS4 games, people will be pissed. Anyway, on Tuesday, June 16th, we'll be getting an intimate look at some celebrity homes and Animal Crossing islands as these celebrities take us on virtual tours on stream to raise money in support of the COVID-19 response fund and to reunite families targeted by mass incarceration. You can donate at donate.ign.com or by following the links in the video description. Make sure you check in all month long for non-stop gaming news, and if you're watching from your living room, you can even watch it all on channel IGN1 on your Samsung TV Plus.
Check out the full schedule at IGN.com. You can also follow IGN on the TikTok app.
Compliant.
What the fuck is going on?
They took everything from me.
Ah, original.
They left me with nothing to lose.
Jack! Oh shit, I thought it was a trailer. This is actually how it looks like.
It is not a matter of what we want. If we don't work together,
what the fuck is this shite?
Have a nice day, Mr. Capnos.
Foreclosed. That looks fucking terrible. Smokey Baxter, IJ, Neezy, and Shayla Beef. Thank you boys, welcome back. Shit. Dankest Dungeon 4. Oh. I think it might, oh, it might be like, oh actually, I think it is very similar. Right? Little DD. The Iron Oath. Alright. Doesn't have the darkest dungeon feel though.
Legend tells of a place where everyone comes together to play and dance and race and shoot and jump and fly with jetpacks or maybe bat wings. And there's lava and a mountain made of junk food. Where you can create your own worlds and have your own adventures where you are in charge. Where you can make your very own games with your very own rules. And all your friends can come and play. Like this one here.
What happened to that? Remember 1 year ago we saw a game?
But he is cool. What?
Death Run game. It looked kind of similar to this.
And own them all. It's sweet. But you see, this place isn't a
Remember?
legend at all.
Like a year ago at E3 or something?
Party.
What was that game called? The 100 player one. Yeah, exactly. Fall Guys? Is that what it was called? I don't think so. Was it? Fall Guys? What happened to that game? It was on some weird ass platform. I think it was maybe Epic. It's from Devolver. Did that shit release ever? In development. Beseech your friends. Damn, those arrows. Like magic. Raise an art. Little H vampire. Kinda looks like it, yeah. Declare war. Very nice. I think we've seen it now. If that's okay with you, trailer. Up the stream quality. Okay. Exclusive reveal. Poggers? Oh, is this a Wizard game? Oh, it is the Wizard. We played this game. This was a long time ago. This was like 1.5 years ago, was it not? It looks kind of nice. I mean, they went in on the Battle Royale shit with Harry Potter style, but it's kind of late now, honestly. It's kind of late, I feel like. Also, this shit is too complicated for people, honestly. This shit is way too fucking complicated now. Mixing 15 elements on top of mixing those with your friends in your team as well. It's too fucking complicated. I'm chicken. What?
Oh, hey, check out spellbreak.com/IGN to get a free exclusive in-game skin. Coming up later in the Expo, we've got tons of never-before-seen trailers and interviews with the developers of some of the hottest upcoming titles. But right now, it's Samurai time! Samurai! Cartoon lovers should be no stranger to Samurai Jack, the time-traveling swordsman whose long-running cartoon adventures came to an end in 2017. Well, now he's back in video game form. We got a chance to talk about it with Samurai Jack creator Genndy Tartakovsky. Max, take it away. Samurai!
Samurai Jack's animated adventures came to a grand finale in 2017, but now this time-traveling samurai is back in Samurai Jack Battle Through Time, a brand new original video game. Here to tell us about it, I'm joined by Samurai Jack's creator and animation legend, Genndy Tartakovsky.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for making a bunch of amazing cartoons that have clearly inspired my own personal laboratory. Let's talk about Samurai Jack. This is a brand new story. It's by Derek Bachman. It takes place within the sort of Samurai Jack timeline, but walk us through exactly sort of where and when, aside from through time, this is taking place.
Well, I think it kind of picks up right where we were finishing the last season, the finale of the whole thing. and it starts. We created a new mythology where it kind of starts as an alternate timeline, and Aku sends Jack through that timeline, and now of course Jack has to fight his way back and defeat Aku. But this time the adventures are kind of similar, fresher, because for the first time you actually get to control Jack and really fight all those amazing villains and henchmen and have the friends along the way that we've experienced through watching the show.
Now, this is the first Samurai Jack game in 16 years. There was the PS2 game that came out in 2004.
Wait,
can you sort of talk about sort of the difference in perception of not just Samurai Jack, but kind of video games in general? It feels like it's you're under the Adult Swim mantle this time around. Which, does that give you any more sort of?
Maybe that wasn't a beard. Okay.
Welcome to Uganda.
Feels lag, man.
B-class treatment, right? You just kind of go into whatever engine they have. They do some new graphics, but generally it's not great. And they were doing it while I was in production on the show, so it's hard for me to be super involved. And because it takes a commitment and a love to do this right, even for video games, for a TV show, for anything. And so it kind of came out and it kind of lacked what we all thought a video game could be. And then now fast forward here, the show is more popular. The show has existed for 16 years more, and people have really gone to love it. And there's a more respect towards it. So the new game is a lot more of what we wanted it back then, and even more. So it's completely different from my point of view, from what it was to how far it's come now.
Very cool. Well, let's talk about the gameplay a little bit here. Obviously, we're going to see lots of sword swinging action because he's a samurai after all. But we also got sort of a pole arm here with some magic coming out of it. We got a shot of him in the trailer with some heavy firepower. Can you tell us about the combat a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's inspired by of course the normal samurai stuff, the classic, but just like in the show, Jack's able to use a lot of what's around him to be inventive, and I think there's some stuff where he actually uses one of the coup drone's arms, and he slashes with it. There's a bow and arrow, I think, and so there's a lot of variation. There's a trident like we see here. And also taking cue from when Jack was lost in the last finale season, he also uses some guns and stuff. Where
oh my god, who would buy this?
The first few seasons.
Like what?
Yeah, a lot of the locales are totally inspired by what we did in the show, and so it's kind of great because if you're a fan of the show, you'll recognize the environments instantly, and you can kind of look forward to some of the villains from that environment. At the same time,
it just feels like it's Game Boy Devil May Cry
to come in all the different various environments.
Nice, and you've got some familiar returning characters as well, I hear.
Yes, of course. I mean, you could never do it without the Scotsman, and here, of course, is Demongo, who's one of the fan favorites. Has been.
Demongo.
And what's also fantastic is we were able to use the original voice cast. Right. I mean, besides Mako, of course, who passed away. But yeah, so there's an authenticity to it that I think is sometimes you don't get in other games based on property.
Is manga not a
this
word?
Is awesome. Now, something I'm really curious about.
English?
This is developed by
is it a word
which
or
is
no?
a studio based out of Japan.
Mongo.
Obviously, Samurai Jack is a Western cartoon heavily influenced by Japanese media and culture, and now you've got a Japanese team developing a game based on that. Can you talk a little bit about that relationship?
No, not mango.
It's been really good. I mean, I think for whenever you do these things, it's always great.
In Swedish we say mango.
A fondness and appreciation from the team that's actually going to be doing all the work. If it's just all about money and they feel like they could take advantage of the name of the property, then it becomes kind of, they don't understand the essence of it. But I know, like Derek, who wrote this,
okay, wrap it up,
Japan,
dude.
And he met with them, and he walked into their offices, and they had Samurai Jack posters,
Budget,
and they were asking about
play.
me, so they were appreciative of it.
All the companies.
Doing.
What did they
even
pay to
remember
get
back
airtime
then
on
when I
this
first
or not?
started the show and it actually started to air in Japan. I was really worried. I'm like, oh no, they found out I'm a fake. They'll see through everything I've done. No matter how much of a whatever fan or appreciation that I had of Japanese culture and especially the samurai code and culture, they would still know that I'm a phony. But so I remember I was at the studio once and we had some visitors from Japan, some of these cable operators. You know, they were just businessmen. And this is years ago, and they came into my office, and I was introduced to them, and Samurai Jack just started airing on their cable network, and they were like, "You got it right. You did a really good job. We love the show, and it feels sincere." And that was the biggest compliment I could ever get. That it was it worked in Japan.
So cool.
Yeah, it didn't. I didn't embarrass their culture or appropriate it or whatever. You know, all that kind of stuff.
I love that. So now, obviously, like Samurai Jack has been around for almost 20 years, and people who, you know, maybe were watching Samurai Jack as kids they're now adults and they're out, you know, making video games and stuff. Have you sort of had any encounters with people working on the game who fanboy out and get completely, you know, overwhelmed by it, or is it?
A little bit. Like it's more about in general. I think, you know, like you said, it's been around for so long, it's been able to influence a lot of artists going into video games and animation in general. And so when I go to conventions and all that kind of stuff and I meet these people, you know, when I was influenced by, you know, Bugs Bunny cartoons and Popeye and some Disney stuff, Tex Avery, and of course by the time I got into the industry, most of them were all gone, if not all of them. And so I was never really able to meet any of the people who inspired me to go into animation, and now it's been pretty incredible. When I go to conventions, I meet the people who say, "Well, yeah, I got into the industry because of Samurai Jack."
Why did you take this segment?
You know, or I love to draw because of Samurai Jack and all this stuff, and it's beyond comprehension.
Fucking terrible.
Something like this can, you know, affect people and really show them the direction in their life, which is so. You know, it's such a huge honor to inspire anybody, really.
That's phenomenal. That's really cool to hear. Now, I have to ask, you mentioned it very briefly there, Popeye. Do you have any word on the Popeye movie that I heard you were working on at one point?
No comment on any of that stuff, so.
Okay. Fair enough.
The Morsan, Forever Ballin', Einstraub, Jason,
so
Maxey, and Mango Bay Turtles, 3 years. Let's fucking go, dude. Thank you, man. Every time we batch, man. Partner.
Welcome back to Check Out This Game on IGN's Summer of Gaming, highlighting exciting, under-the-radar games worth your time. Strategy RPG Star Renegades has without a doubt one of the coolest looking pixel art styles I've seen in a long time, but it backs that look up with an exciting time-based combat system as well. Take a look at some exclusive new gameplay.
Little fans.
Like what you see? Then head on over to IGN.com or YouTube.com/IGN to watch the full extended version of this gameplay.
That was the wonderful Tom Marks with some inside info on Star Renegades. If you like Tom, I have great news because he will be right back to tell us all about Iron Oath along with one of the game's developers. But first, a little tiny break. Stay tuned.
IGN Summer of Gaming is brought to you by Fuser, who will be partying with us all summer long.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Every Friday.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Everybody loves watching a speed run of their favorite game. But what if you got the opportunity to peek into the minds of the developers while they watch their games getting completely wrecked? That's exactly what happens in every episode of Game Devs React to speedruns.
Yeah, you can do that. Oh my god!
That's lit.
We invite you to ride along with the developers
as if they
as
haven't
react
seen
to,
the fucking
question, and
speedruns.
enjoy some of the most skilled players exploiting and speeding through a game it took years of their life to create. Join us every Saturday for a new episode.
Hey there! Do you have opinions on games, movies, TV, or other weird stuff on the internet? You can take part in our new show, Power Ranking, where you can vote on all your favorite things on the internet. Do it now! Do it! Just go! Go! Go!
News, games, and more is IGN's live news show every day of the week that covers all the day's news about games, movies, comics, and of course more. This is our daily live show that takes a rotating cast of IGN talent, going over all the latest news of the day while taking live questions and comments from chat. We're live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. See you there.
How many shows do they have? God damn.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to IGN's Summer of Gaming. My name is Tom Marks, and I'm joined today by Chris Wingard and Nick Mueller, who's a little bit static today, of Curious Panda Games. How are you guys doing?
Great. Doing very good. How about you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining me. We're here to talk about your game, The Iron Oath. So, just to set it up, tell me a bit about the game. What is The Iron Oath?
I think, like, at its core, the game is about
not Dark Souls,
a
Darkest
mercenary
Dungeon.
company. And just like living the life of a mercenary, like owning your own mercenary guild and managing all of that. That's sort of like the main thing that you'll be doing.
And that's through, as we're seeing here,
Feels like FTL
tactics-based,
meets
kind of hex-based gameplay, right?
FTL
It's
meets
a turn-based
Darkest
tactics
Dungeon.
game at its core as well.
Right. Yeah. So you're managing your guild, and then you take them on missions, and then the combat plays out on a hex grid.
Hex grid.
And one of the things I wanted to touch on too is you guys started out on Kickstarter, I believe.
Yeah.
When? How long?
2017.
2017. So you've gone along like 3 years now. How has kind of that journey been?
It's been longer than we wanted it to, but we've made a lot of improvements to the game, and we've come a long way, and we're really happy with the state that it's in and where it's going, and really excited for people to get their hands on it, hopefully soon.
Well, since we're seeing it right now, since we're seeing the combat, let's talk about that first. There's a lot of different flavors of turn-based tactics and hex-based stuff and all that sort of goodness. What kind of sets the Iron Oath apart? What did you want out of the combat? What's important to you, and what are players basically going to be thinking about? What do you want them to think about while they're fighting?
I mean,
tackle that, Chris.
everyone, including game developers, underestimate how long it takes to make a fucking game.
We really wanted, firstly, our hero design. We really wanted them to be
Just
pretty
a friendly
diverse
reminder
and
that this piece
not,
of shit said company is the same
I guess a bit
that
different
rated
than, like, your
Overwatch 10
stereotypical
out of 10.
classes that you'd normally
You are
encounter in an
welcome.
RPG, like a guy who's just a tank. And
An Overwatch 10 out of 10.
Has ranged abilities sitting in
I
the back. So we
mean,
kind of that's our main focus, is like having
technically,
powerful characters who are unique, and then just
it
like the
should
Pyro
be
Lancer, for
rated 10
example.
out of
That's a
10
guy with
in
black
terms of
armor.
multiplayer
The
games.
Lance, he's a melee
Right.
fire mage, so he's an example of that.
When they rated it 10
and
out of
basically
10.
like
Yeah.
really just wanted to. Sorry.
I was just saying, yeah. Initially, he was just a guy that stood in the back
Technically.
with fireballs, and we decided to that'd be kind of boring.
Not
if
wrong,
we
but
just
it's always a bit
tropes of every,
iffy when you
RPG,
rate
and instead
multiplayer
decided
games.
to give like a little bit of a twist.
Single
on
player
it. So
games
instead of just
are
standing back and throwing fireballs, he gets up and
always
close and
easier
deals
to
fire
rate.
damage like that.
Objectively.
And that was
Yeah,
one
so,
thing
like-
I was noticing watching this gameplay as well, is it seems like positioning is really, really important here. We already saw it
Oh, that's a
a
first.
little bit earlier, but
I've never seen that in
one character
any game ever.
placed a little fire sigil, and then another character
Especially
knocked
not
them into that,
strategy
which then
games.
knocked that person farther away.
Usually doesn't
Yeah,
matter
exactly.
at
Yeah,
all.
there's a lot of synergies between abilities. Like the Pyro Lancer places down that hex, and then there's a lot of abilities that can push or can pull, and so you gotta try to plan ahead and take that into account when you're trying to manipulate your positioning around the enemies and all that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of environmental hazards too. Like just then, he was standing on the little like glowing hex, and that one, if you're standing on it, you can't use certain abilities.
Nice.
So
He
you
was
have to
holding
really
the
plan
kid the
out where you're
hostage,
gonna
and this
go.
guy just
and that was
slashed
created
through
by
him.
one of the enemies attacking. It spawned that beneath him, so you have to move around. But then also you have to really think about where you're going to move to, because like Dungeons and Dragons,
A little
there's,
zoom
attack
zoom.
opportunities.
Thank you for the sub.
So if you
Welcome,
get close to
CF
someone and
Unix
then
and
move away,
on a
they're
Titan.
going
Thank
to
you
get
for
like
the
a
prime
free
sub.
hit
Welcome.
against you.
Mashiri
So you
Ko
can't
and
just
Paddy,
move off of
welcome
a
back.
hex. You have
Force,
to really, like,
you think
think
it's
about
in the
where you're
IGN
taking
terms
the
of
damage,
service that everyone working there have to look at the cut, or is it just a
I feel like
coincidence
Attack of Opportunities
or
is something
something?
that I would think I've seen more of that in tactics games, but it feels like this is one of the first I've
How
actually
does a
seen
cock look like?
lean into that idea.
Yeah, we really wanted to lean into that, and then also have ways around it. Like it's not gonna, like, one of the problems that we thought we might run into is just characters would funnel.
I
to a
never
point,
met a cuck
and then they would just trade
in
blows
person.
and it's done. So, but to counteract that, we have a lot of characters with mobility. So instead of just running into a place, like the Valkyrie is a class that she can fly several hexes across. So if she needs to get out of somewhere, she can use that to make a whole lot of distance. And then we have other abilities that can knock back, and then that allows you to walk away without.
This font
getting hit
is
with
so
the attack
fucking
opportunities. There's,
terrible.
like,
It looks
environmental
like
hazards, like
really
in a
fucking
later part, there's, like,
basic
grass on the ground, and
shit
if you're
font.
standing in the grass, you can freely move through that and not get hit with an attack of opportunity.
And now we're seeing an overworld map screen. Can we talk about, tell me a little bit about this world and kind of the outside of combat, but this part of it. You're walking between
Westerworld.
towns, you're taking on missions as
Westerworld.
part of this mercenary company, right?
Westeros.
Yeah, this is where you'll be
That's what it's
doing
called.
like half of the game. Half of the game is kind of in these dungeons doing combat. The other half is where you're actually managing your guild and exploring the world. And like just then, what happened was it was moving to a town, and there was like a dynamic event that happened that said that you've encountered these this person that looks like they're in trouble, and you could choose to help them or not help them.
Jesus Christ!
And,
They spent 3
so
years
that's
on
where,
this
like,
shit.
a lot of the events will.
I mean,
come about
yeah,
is
they
from
spent 3 years on this.
dynamic encounters that come about as you're
But there are a lot of
or dungeons.
game
You might
developers
run
who
across other
spend
events
3
mid-dungeon
years on
that are
less.
related to the quest you're currently tackling.
Yeah, there's a lot
At
of
least
like
these guys have some
text-based
fucking
encounters.
airtime.
That's part of the inspiration is from D&D in that aspect. It's just little choose your own adventure type things while you're on a mission. It's not necessarily part of that mission, but it's just
It's
something.
rough, man.
choose
Game
to do.
development, it's rougher than
That's
people
also
think.
what
I think.
I feel like what a lot of Dungeons and Dragons campaigns end up becoming, or are.
Everyone
from the
wants to
outset,
win
is
the lottery.
Essentially, a band of mercenaries just running around taking jobs.
Right.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
I was
it's
also a
hard
big
because
fan of,
everyone
like,
wants to
Berserk,
win the lottery.
the Band
right?
of the Hawk, the manga, and I always thought that would be like really fun to really like play out a scenario like that.
And we mentioned Valkyrie, which is now we're actually seeing in this fight as a class, but the characters specifically, are these randomized characters that kind of get assigned a class? Are they set characters that you'll meet out in the world? How does that sort of aspect of it work?
So they're each class, you recruit them, and they age, they retire, or they die in combat, and then you'll eventually have to replace them by recruiting new people. So the classes themselves, there's 8 classes that we'll be launching with, and they're not tied to a person. The person is dynamically generated whenever you need to recruit someone, and yeah, you just recruit them, you train them up.
Dynamically
they have
generated?
traits, they have personality traits, and there's different skills that you can level up within. You know, they have like their abilities, and you can level up those abilities with different skills to try and augment them.
The characters can also be customized a little bit too. You can tweak the colors, also the portraits in the top left. Those can all be changed, so you can like give people different hair or hair colors or different, eye color, things like that.
I know one of the things you guys mentioned
Different
before we
eye
spoke
colors.
here was the inspirations of kind of Darkest Dungeon and that coming into it. And you mentioned aging. And that sort of reminds me that these characters are they're finite to a certain extent. You're not going to take one person all the way from the beginning of the game to the end of the game necessarily.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everything you do in the game kind of like costs time. Essentially, like when you're traveling around the world, it takes time. It might take time for characters to heal. Like they can be injured. Like right now on the top left, you'll see there's little icons that show that he's got like an arm injury, a leg injury, and those things take time to heal. And different injuries take longer. Like if you get a light laceration, he might be ready for combat in a week. But if someone gets like a broken leg, they might be out for a couple months. So you have to make sure you have like a nice rotation of characters that you can bring in and out of combat.
Is there a base building management sort of aspect to it? Like how much is that actual management side of things? How deep does that go?
building?
You definitely have to manage. Sorry.
No, sorry, you jump in there.
All right, sure. So you have to manage, the recruitment obviously first and foremost, and that was just a violent death right there that just occurred. And so you manage the recruitment aspect, and then you manage when you're recruiting someone, you have to manage the contract. So the contracts kind of work like sports contracts, basically. So you sign someone, and they'll be with you for 5 years at a certain amount of gold per year. And then once that's up, you got to renegotiate a new contract. And then aside from that, you also have to kind of manage each individual's happiness a little
Hello,
bit.
and
So
welcome to Team Fortress 2. After 9 years in
wanna be
development,
used,
hopefully it will have been worth the
choices
wait.
that they don't
I can be reached at
necessarily
Gab
agree
and
with,
Valve
they're gonna
Software.
have
Come
Trump,
in my favorite
problems with
classes
that,
this
and
far.
they might end up
Thanks,
leaving your
and
company.
have fun.
So you have to manage that aspect, and then as well with the whole overworld, there's a bunch of different factions. So you have to kind of manage your relationship with all these different factions, choose who you want to ally yourself with, and
I don't
be
get it.
wary of who you make enemies with because they might send bounty hunters after you.
I don't get
stuff
it.
like that. So there's a decent amount of management to go on, but there is no base that you have for your company, but there is a skill tree that you can work towards getting different upgrades.
One-eyed king.
I gotta
Give it
tell
1
you,
year,
Football
dude.
Manager, but for D&D nerds,
Cluster
is
Leap,
something
Frunk
that
Sheep,
appeals
2
to me
years,
on a deep
man.
level.
Thank you, boys.
So I'm very much
Welcome
looking
back.
forward to this. Thank you to both of
Anonymous,
you
welcome back.
for sitting down with us, talking about it, and showing it off.
Yep, thank you very much for having us. Appreciate it.